All right, guys, we are going to be reacting to why are French people so rude? My thoughts as local. Jump in.
And thought, why does the waiter hate me? You probably are not yet aware of some unspoken rules I'm about to share with you. So first of all, I have to say that the stereotype of the rude Parisian is not entirely untrue. Like, if you think Parisians are rude, you have to know that the rest of France probably also agrees with you. Paris is a really big city. There's around 12 million people living around Paris. It's super busy, it's really crowded, and also people here are on the mission. Like, I've read this article called Why Do We Hate Parisians? I've learned that almost 80% of Parisians were not born in Paris. And it often feels to me like a lot of people move here for a few years for work, and then when they're ready to have a chiller life, they move out to somewhere quieter. So you really need to keep that in mind when you're visiting Paris. I feel it's like that in every big city in the world. Like, you wouldn't go to New York 100%. City and expect people to be nice. Like, New Yorkers are famous to be rude as well, and I even feel it's also part of the charm, the energy of the city. Also in Paris, there's so many touristy things to do, and if you're on the tourist trail, you're not gonna have the best interactions. So there's around 50 million people who visit Paris each year. So this means that the touristy places are really super crowded. And most of the time, if you're visiting, you're just gonna have interactions with people who work in customer service around touristy areas. And I can tell you that these people are overworked, underpaid, and they're answering the same question 1,000 times a day. But also, even if you go to non-touristy neighborhoods and you try your best, things can still be pretty hard unless you know what I'm about to tell you. So there's a lot of debate in the comment section of my channel on whether or not Parisians are rude or visitors are just missing something. And those comments really touch on a crucial point here, is if you don't know those rules, you might yourself be rude as well. So you're not being personally victimized by Parisians, you maybe just don't know the rules. Alright, so here are a few things a lot of people do that might get them into trouble with Parisians. The first one, and I've said it so many times in the channel, but it's that important, is to always say hello when you start an interaction. Hello in French is bonjour. If you don't remember, you can just say hello, but it is so important to acknowledge the other person when you're starting an interaction. If you do not start your interactions with bonjour or hello, you are being rude by French standards, and Parisians will let you know that you've been rude. And in a lot of comments on my channel, people always say that this was the thing that helped them the most. But there's a few other things as well that are specific to Paris. And a big one is how you act in transportation. So transportation, the metro system, can be a big source of frustration for Parisians. The Paris metro is very crowded. It's apparently the 9th busiest metro in the whole world. And it's very dense. That's high. So you really want to mind other people's personal space. Like, you want to walk fast enough, you want to get out of the way, you want to stand on the right-hand side of escalators if you're not moving. And if you're not doing that, people will let you know. They will just move past you and just be pardon, which means pardon me, but in a sassy way. And you will not have a good time. You will feel people are rude to you, but you're just inconveniencing people. And it's okay in France to let people know when they've made you unhappy. We'll talk about that later when we talk about deeper cultural differences. In smaller French cities, I feel people will be a bit more patient with you, but it's overall better to always mind your personal space and always mind other people. Then a really big one is the relationship to service workers. In France, when you go to a shop or a restaurant, you're a guest in someone's establishment, which means you need to let them take the lead and tell you what to do. And this might be very different compared to other countries where I feel sometimes service workers are treated a bit like servants, and this is a big no-no in France. No one wants to be treated like a servant, and people will not be patient with you because they don't have to work for tips, especially in restaurants. So people in the service industry are not required to be nice to you if you're not being nice to them. If you're just polite, you say hello and thank you, you won't have any issues. But keep that in mind and don't get frustrated at people, especially if they don't speak any English. And I want to look together at this.
That makes sense. Personally, thinking as an American, right, that you will go to a lot of these places and they might just know English, I think it's a little arrogant. And this is where, we have to be a little bit more, I would say, humble. Just at least learn their basic language, learn some basic language, some basic French, and that way they can at least feel appreciative.
Interesting comment I got on my channel. I went to a restaurant in Paris last year and had a very bad experience. I was just asking the waiter to give us 5 minutes to decide the order, but he just said no English, only French. And I tried explaining, but he was very rude and I literally had to get up and leave the restaurant. Often when people don't speak French and the waiter or the service person doesn't speak English, some big misunderstandings can happen. Often people will get confused and, you know, just look at you with a weird face that you might interpret as rude, but it's fully normal in France. What I recommend here is that you stay patient, that you don't expect people to speak English, and at worst, if you don't understand something at the restaurant, just point at something someone is eating and just say that you're gonna have that. That's the universal method that always works when people don't speak your language. I do have to warn you though that if you start speaking louder and louder, people will think you're aggressing them and they will give you an attitude, because it is totally okay to match the attitude of the customer. And you know, sometimes even if you know those rules, even if you're trying your best, I still see people who have a bad experience in France. And I want to get a bit deeper into cultural differences and culture shocks. And for that, I want to show you this TikTok called France Made Me Cry. So this girl's name is Angela. I don't know.
Oh, really? People have that bad experience?
Her personally, obviously, but her TikTok went pretty viral a few months ago, and I've tried to gather as much context as possible. First of all, I really want to empathize, because it is so hard to make friends as an adult, and it's so hard when you're traveling solo, when you feel you're not really understanding the people and people are not very nice to you. So I really want you to keep that in mind when you're watching this video. We're not gonna criticize her, we're gonna try to analyze why someone might feel this way.
To be honest, the experience is very isolating. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful city. People here, they seem very indifferent.
So a lot of people underestimate how different France is.
Maybe, I'm sorry, maybe you're giving them a different vibe. I mean, sometimes it's not the culture, guys. Maybe sometimes it's you. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it's not you, it's the culture, it's you.
Gonna be from their own country. And you know, people think they know the cultures because they've seen all the movies about France. They've seen
with the wine in the hands,
they've seen Emily in Paris. France is everywhere. You know, it's a pretty well-known country. And they might come to France and not think it's gonna be very different from where they live. But obviously, this couldn't be further from the truth. My boyfriend Bobby is American. We've been together for 8 years. He has done so much work to feel integrated in the French culture. So it has been a really long journey, and I've personally seen him go through all the frustrations, but also the positive aspects of trying to blend in a bit more in a culture and re-understanding my culture. And on my side as well, I've done the same work, but in the US, so I understand what it is like to, you know, just go to a different place that you feel is quite similar to your home country. Things don't look too different in New York, you know, compared to Paris, but things are really different, and the way people relate to each other is very different. And one thing that has helped us feel more integrated into each other's culture and meet other people easily is to do different group activities. Last weekend with Bobby, we went on a wine tasting and food pairing class at this super cute wine shop, and it was so fun. You get to learn about 6 different wines from different French regions. And
that's for free, or?
So on how to pair them with food, which I can tell you was a really good time. And I've booked this activity on Klook.
Oh, Klook is a... Hey, you guys wanna watch Klook? Go to her channel.
Here to understanding this whole debate. Politeness is not the same thing in France than in other countries. Being polite in France, it's not being friendly, it's not being nice, it's having the appropriate distance in social interactions. And I'm gonna explain what I mean by that by a very simple thing. When I moved to the US at first, I was so overwhelmed. People were talking to me all the time. There was a lot of small talk. I didn't know what to answer when people were trying to have small talk with me, so it was very different. I'm used to people, you know, acknowledging me, saying bonjour to me, but then, you know, keeping me at a bit of a distance. And it's because in France, people value their personal space. There's also different levels of closeness. You know, you don't speak the same way to someone you're gonna only see once. There's many, many different levels, and for each level of closeness, you have different ways of interacting. Keep that in mind and don't be offended if people don't want to speak to you. And also in this video, Angela says something that I find very interesting.
People make you feel bad for not knowing their culture or speaking their language.
And obviously, most people don't want to make you feel bad. You know, people don't wake up in France with an agenda of making visitors feel awful. You have to know that France is a very strong culture. When you grow up in France, everything revolves around France. All the movies are dubbed in
Of
French.
course.
We have a lot of French-speaking movies, French-speaking
Of
books,
course.
songs, food. Everything is French. We are very, very, very French. And that doesn't mean France is not a diverse place. France is a diverse place. There's a lot of people who have a
But here, okay, let's look at this. Between 20 and 40% of French people have a foreign origin. Huh, interesting stats. What do you guys think about this stat? Let me know in the comment section below.
foreign parent, moved here a bit later in life, and there's people from many different countries here. But the culture in France is very strongly French, and French people expect other people to adapt to their country when they're visiting. So here I'm not here to judge if it's good or bad. That's for you to decide. But that's just how it is. When you're in France, you'll be expected to adapt to the French culture and customs. And people will let you know, and sometimes in a way that you might interpret as rude, but they're actually trying to help you. And we're gonna talk about that in the next section. So in her video, Angela mentions that she has been here for 5 to 6 days and she hasn't met anyone. And I am so sorry to say, but as a French person, that is to be expected. And that's because of the cultural differences in friendliness. As a French person, I can say with 100% certainty that I have never made friends in such short of a time. Like, obviously I've met people I've been friendly with.
It's too big of a... When you are in a big city, it's very hard to make friends because mindset-wise, people are not in community-based. I would say they're not in community-based state of mind. You see what I'm saying? Big cities are always like that. You want to create a community, you want to create friends, you have to go to a small town.
Had good interactions with strangers. Also, small talk is not as much of a thing in France, so that's not how you meet people. Like, if you're approaching people and being overly friendly, French people might think you're deranged, like you have an issue, you have a serious issue. And it's because people don't smile as much here. I'm considered to be a very smiley person in France. People always compliment me on how I smile all the time, how I seem very happy. But it's just not the rule here. People don't smile as much as, for example, in the US. It's because what I was telling you before, being polite in France is having the right distance with people. So if you come to a random person and you're being overly friendly, you're asking them a lot of personal questions, people will think you're being fake. And being seen as being fake in France is bad. It's not a good thing. Like, for example, in France, you don't ask questions you don't want to hear the answer to. Like, for example, when you say, hey, how are you? When you're at a shop, you would never do that in France. If someone asks me, ça va? Which is how are you in France, I would think they are concerned for me. Like, for example, I have blood running down my face, or it looks like I'm not feeling good. It's not just seen as a little thing people will do to be polite. Also in France, friendship is seen as a long-term thing, so this is why some people might have issues integrating at first. It does take time to make friends in France, but once you're in, you'll have the same friends for forever if you keep in touch with people.
Well,
there's also more of a group mentality.
It depends, right? It depends if you meet them when you're older or you meet them when you're younger. Usually when you make some people actually younger, it's most likely that you guys are not going to catch up again. It's very rare. But when you meet people when you're older, there's more appreciation for friendship, I would say.
Often you need to be introduced by other members of the group. And now I want to take a bit of time to empathize with Angela, because I had a similar experience when I moved to the US. Like, I could have made the same TikTok called "The US Made Me Cry," because I did cry. And here I'm only half joking, but my experience in the US is that often people can be very nice and over-friendly. People love small...
This is New York City. This is New York City, man. I don't know why people just go to New York City. I'm telling you, New York City is trash.
Talk, it's so easy having nice micro interactions with strangers, but this doesn't always translate in real friendship. Like, for example, every random person I would meet were just telling me, oh, you should come to my house, you should hang out with me next weekend, but they were never following up. And as a French person, where being nice is not mandatory and you're actually only friendly with your friends, I was reading the room wrong, and I thought these people wanted to be friends with me, me when they're just being polite. So yes, cultural differences can be really tough. And when you're traveling somewhere, you're bound to have misunderstandings.
Yeah.
So my advice is to stay strong, don't take things personally, although it can be hard sometimes, and just try to adapt as much as you can. However, there's an aspect of the French culture that I don't fully agree with, is our relationship to negativity. And one of the reasons this TikTok really went viral is because Angela says this at some point.
I almost feel stupid for coming here, spending money. I even bought a French hat.
And unfortunately, the comments were really what I expected. People are roasting her, and I'm sure Angela might have...
Yeah, because she's doing a lot of this stuff just to get something in return. You see what I'm saying? She's not doing it. This is my take. She was not doing it based on respect for the culture. She was doing it to just get something in return, and probably a lot of people, they simply smelled it.
I've had some real life experience of that as well, because that's a thing that's really big in the French culture, being at ease with negativity. So here, for example, if you say something that's just a tiny bit silly, people will go ahead and roast you. That's 100% part of the French culture. Man. I get roasted all the time by people.
Pain au chocolat. Un, pas une. Un pain au chocolat.
So this scene is actually pretty common. People will correct you and they will think they are actually helping you. And I personally choose to never correct people who are actually trying their best to learn French and to speak French, because I don't like being corrected. People understand you, that's good enough. And being honest and authentic is really valued in France because it's seen as being a strong part of developing friendships. Like a silly example is that when I'm in the US and I ever say something bad about myself, like for example that I look tired or that something doesn't fit me, every time people always answer with like, oh no, you look
good. No, you look good. No, you look good. No, you don't look tired. Yeah. Yep. A lot of white Karens do stuff like that.
So good, you're amazing, you're beautiful. And I don't really like it. This kind of sets a doubt in my mind that people are just saying that to be polite, and that's not actually true, because I know I do look tired. And I do value the honesty of French people in conversation sometimes, where people will be like, this dress doesn't look good on you, but this one does. So you know that when a French person is telling you something positive, they mean it. It's not realistic to expect everyone to be friendly to you in a big city in such short of time, but if you're aware of those cultural differences, you can 100% have a great time while you're traveling to Paris. And for that, I recommend you check out a local area and watch one of those videos next. I'll see you there.
Very good. I think, you know what, those are great points. She has very good insight of what's going on in France. And you know what, her points were very clear and fair. I think you know, you're gonna go to a country, don't expect them to just like you. You have to earn that respect for them to even consider you a friend. I think it's a little bit disingenuous to think that you're gonna go to Paris and gonna bring. It's a little disrespectful when you think about it. Hey, hello, I just bought a French hat. Can we be friends? No, I think it's a little disrespectful. You have to integrate yourself towards the culture and just immerse in the culture, and then probably they will say, you know what, this person might contribute something to our society or our own country or whatever. Very good point. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you next one.